Live from J-Wood Studios in New York. This is the Kishroni Hour, and I'm Yosef Bornstein. I'll be here till 8 o'clock. Met Hashem. Otherwise, we begin with the Tefillah to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Let's say together, Rebbeinu Shalom, Abba, Tati, however you call the Eibishter. You in any language. And we're going to say together, please give us tzlacha this hour the way you have always done. And Baruch Hashem, we had tremendous hatzlach in this show. Today we have a very, very chashuv, a special guest, Reb Leibish Langer. I'm sure you heard his name many times. And he is going to deliver some chizuk in the area of Emunah and related to the Pasha. Anyway, remember that I believe in you and I trust you. You're important and you'll succeed. We're going to do a kid report. We're going to do Yehuda. We're going to do Yehuda Rubin. But first, I wanted to just tell you that we're going to take phone calls today. If you want to call, you can call us at 718-683-5858, 718-683-5858. And if you want to send us a text, you can do so at 347-927-8398. 347-927-8398. If you want to tell us what's on your mind, you want to talk to Rabbi Langer, it's more than our pleasure to answer your phone calls. Moshe is right here. Nissim is right here. We have unbelievable people around here, the staff. So call in. We're ready to hear you call. Anyway, let's go to Yehuda Rubin. To the kids' radio we go, to the junior reporter. We're going to start hopefully having more reporters soon, very soon. We're working on a big plan, Mitzvah Hashem. We will not accept phone calls, as we always say, till the junior reporters are finished. Anyway, as usual, we start with the story of the week. To the story of the week we go at the story station, standing by our veteran junior storyteller, Yehuda Rubin, with the story of the week.
The title of this week's story is The Button. One evening, Ron Cutler walked into a hall and found a bacher named Rev Dev Lesser and asked him if he has a needle and a thread. The bacher was taken aback. "Why does Rosh Yeshiva want a needle and thread?" he asked. "A button," responded Rosh Yeshiva. "But a bacher could sew it on," said Reb Dev, meaning himself. "Absolutely not," said the Rosh Yeshiva. "If I can do it myself, I'll definitely not bend Torah to do such a thing for me." And then he did it himself. At the story station, this is Yehuda Rubin for the Kishroni on J Radio.
Short and sweet, to the point. Excellent job, Yehuda, as usual. If you're a boy or girl between the age of 8 and 14 and you want to do a report, you can text us at 347-927-8398, 347-927-8398. We will be happy to take your telephone number and your name, and we'll call you back. I'll be glad to not reject you. What's our motto? No child is rejected and no child is refused. Anyway, here with us today is Reb Leibish Langer, with Rosh Yeshiva in Far Rockaway, and also a major storyteller and a chizuk giver. What else? Excuse me. And it's a very big tzchus for us, really. And let me say something too, Reb Langer. Not only, were you willing to come and give up your time, but the way you did it. I called so many people. People give me like this cold shoulder. I can't. I don't have the time. And you were very nice to me, and I really appreciate that.
I thank you for an opportunity. When we have a chance to speak to Yiddish Kinderlich, we have to jump and grab the opportunity. It's a schus and a tremendous, tremendous opportunity. Wherever we can share anything, that's what Yidden are all about. We have to share between ourselves whatever we can be mechazik one another. So I thank you for being here. Truth, I just came from yeshiva, just gave a shir right now. I didn't even eat no supper, but Baruch Hashem, this is what we're here for. So we can help each other, be mechazik each other, so we can walk away with something that we can serve the Rebbeinu Shalom somewhat better, and that's all worth it.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. So what do you have for us today?
Well, as I was coming over here, I wanted to think about certain things, but the phone did not stop ringing in my car. So Baruch Hashem, as I first of all, I just heard one thing before the boy that said the story, Yehuda said the story. So I heard something about a button. Right. And so it brings things to my mind. Speaking about the button, the Chassam Sofer once had a button to be sewn onto his kapota, or beketsher, whatever you call it. And the Chassam Sofer called his daughter. And he said to his daughter, Tochter, my entire Tochter, I need a button to be sewn on. Can you please take care of it? She says, Avada, Tati, sure. And she comes back a few minutes later, and the Chassam Sofer looks at it, says, oh, well sewn, but tell me, did you do it, or you gave it to the lady that does the household work or so? Did you give it to her? She says, Tati, why are you asking? He says, because I feel and I believe that you gave it to the worker in the house and you didn't do it yourself. Tati, is the button not sewn on well? It's sewn on excellent. So how do you know that I was not the one that sewed on the button? It's true, I gave it to the lady because I was helping mommy doing something else, so I gave it to her. He says, because let me tell you, take a look right next to the button. There's a little rip. If a daughter sews on the button, she would make sure to fix the little rip at the same time. You tell a worker to do something, he does his job. You want me to sew on a button? I'll sew on a button. What about the rip next to it? Forget about that. I wasn't told to do that. And that's what we have to learn. When we do something, we do a mitzvah, we have to try to do everything around it. We have to be mechazik to be able to do everything in the most perfect way possible. Don't leave those side things. Oh, I wasn't told to do that. What do you mean you weren't told to do that? Of course you weren't told. You have to understand yourself. It's like when somebody gets to daven and he cuts out this part and cuts out that part. I can be yotzam b'di'evid on this, and b'di'evid on that. What? We're not looking for b'di'evid. We're looking for l'katchila, a child. Bona matam l'Hashem alakeichem. And now we are holding in this week's parasha. Now, we can't just go and move away from these parashas. These parashas were supposed to sit and we're supposed to think and analyze. Look at Avram and Sarah, the mama and the tata, how dedicated they were to every drop of Avodas Hashem, how they gave their life and soul, everything. And we have to learn from this, Avram HaIvri. We have to be very, very proud. Tyre Kinderlach. We have to be extremely proud of who we are. If you look around at Klal Yisrael today, yes, if anybody scratches, you scratch the paint, you'll find some rust, whatever it is. But if you look at Klal Yisrael, Baruch Hashem, it's growing and people are trying to do their best to become better. Yes, there are nisyonis out there, but we have to be proud of who we are, and we have to walk around with a pride. Avram HaIvri. Avram was on one side of the world, and the entire world was on the other side. And Avram couldn't care less. You think in the beginning we didn't laugh from Avram Avinu? Avram Avinu, I'm sure, was at the beginning the laughing stock. He's standing up to Nimrod. Nimrod was a powerful king, and Avram says, no, you're wrong. All of you are wrong. And Avram Avinu was not embarrassed. He stood up for what he believed is right. And with that, Avram was able to overcome all the obstacles. I want to share a story. I said this over on Yom Tov, and I just said it over recently. I don't remember where. Baruch Hashem. So what happened was, I heard the story about two different people. Once with the Lord Jacobowitz, who was the chief Rav of England, and I also heard about Rabbi Heyer from Canada. So either one of them, the story is definitely a story that happened, and who the person was, whatever it is, it works out fine. But listen, a couple of years ago, Queen Elizabeth made a banquet, and she invited the dignitaries. She wanted all the important officials over there, and she also had the chief rabbi invited, and of course the head priest, the bishop, and from the Reform movement also came their rabbi. And when Lord Jacobowitz, or Rabbi Hauer, when he was asked to come, he said, everything is fine, but I have one obstacle, one problem. It's not fit for me to be there and not eat when everybody else is eating. It just doesn't look right. But I can't eat there because I have to eat kosher food. So the one that invited him told him, well, of course, you'll have your chef prepare for you whatever you desire, whatever you want, everything will be fine. Yeah, he says, that's just one part of the problem, but there's another problem. The dishes. I can't use the palatial dishes. I can't bring my own dishes. I'm not going to bring plastic dishes over here. We're sitting at a banquet by a queen. We can't do that. And I need kosher utensils. I can't use the utensils that the palace has. So they said, well, not a problem. You're going to come, and we're going to give you special private dishes. He says, well, I need them beforehand because I have to toivel them. I have to make sure. So they delivered him the exact replica copy of what? Well, brand new, of course. They gave him dishes, told him do what you have to do, whatever rituals you have to do, and the forks, the spoons, and the cutlery, everything. He titled it and even put an emblem in the back with his initial, so he should recognize that these are my personal plates, and this way I'll know exactly. He comes to his place that was designated for him, and he picks up the plate, and sure enough, that's it. And he knew he's going to get, the chef is there, his own chef, kosher food, everything is fine. Everything was wonderful until, after the first course, Prince Charles gets up and he says, this is such a nice gathering, and what a shame, only a few people know each other. Wouldn't it be so nice if everybody gets to know each other? I do suggest that for the second course, everybody change places and mingle with new people. So this way, whoever sat on table A will go to table C. Whoever sat on table C will go to table E. And this way, everybody will mix and we'll get to know more people. And that's the purpose of it, to create a unity. Everybody got up. But the Rav had a problem. What do I do with my dishes now? Go call the waiter. Can you take my dishes there? Can you bring those dishes here? Too complicated and may get mixed up. Well, he did what Avram Avinu would do, what I'm sure all of you would do, especially after the story. What happened was, he picked up his plates. There were like 3 plates there, with all the spoons, the forks, knives, and he walks to the table D, wherever he was going to sit down, takes off those plates, and he says to the waiter, can you please take these plates that I just took off here and move them over there to my other place, and these are my plates, they're fine. The Reform rabbi saw, he's walking around with plates and forks and hands, and it didn't look that good. So he goes over to him, he says, Rabbi, what are you doing? You're making a mockery of our religion. You're making a fool of us. He says, I'm not making a fool. I'm doing what we're supposed to. Well, I can't eat non-kosher food, and the plates are non-kosher. I can't use them. He says, you can't do that. Don't you realize you're amongst so many officials over here? It just doesn't look right. He said, what about you? What are you doing? He said, what do you mean what I'm doing? Dina da mechisa dina. The din is right now, we're eating, I'll eat. He says, oy, that's your din. I'm sorry, I don't go with those dinim. I go with the din of the Torah. And if that's the case, I'm proud of what I did. Sei gesund. But after that course, what do you know? Prince Charles was so impressed with the involvement and what was going on and everybody intermingling so nicely. Prince Charles says, may I ask you all one more time that everybody gets up and move again to their places, to different places. And the Rav gets up, takes his plate again, and the Reform rabbi is staring at him. He's turning red. Oh, I can't believe this. Crimson red. He looks at him, and he waves to him with his finger. Chil Hashem. But the Rav does what he's supposed to do. He does it with pride and dignity. I'm a Yid. I have nothing to be embarrassed about my Torah. On the contrary, I could be proud of what I am and who I am and what we are, and I am going to go and walk away with these plates and cutlery. And he goes and he puts it down in the other place. And sure enough, after the whole meeting was over and everybody goes to say good night to the Queen, and Prince Charles standing right behind her, everybody walks by and humbly bows their head. And the Queen also says to everybody, have a pleasant evening. And as soon as the Rav walks by the Queen, Prince Charles stops him and he says, are you the rabbi, chief rabbi of the Jews? He says, yes, I am. He says, can you explain to me, why were you walking around with those plates and cutlery? And he says, of course I'll explain it to you, because I eat kosher. I had my own food, was arranged, and my plates have my initial on the bottom to know that they're kosher plates. He says, I didn't know that the plates have to be kosher. I know about kosher food. He says, yes, if you want more information, I'll be more than glad to sit down with you at any time. And Prince Charles starts speaking to him. He says, I'm so impressed with your behavior. In front of everybody, you stood up for your values. You know, that really, really means so much. Wow. I'm so proud. And all of a sudden, the Reform Rabbi saw that he's having so much honor, and he decided, hey, one second, I think I belong here too. And the Reform Rabbi squeezes in, and he tells Prince Charles, I'd like to introduce myself. I am the chief rabbi of the Reform Jews. And he says, you're a rabbi? He says, yes. Can I ask you a question? Certainly. Why were you not walking around with the plates if you're a rabbi? He says, I'm concerned about that. You don't have to answer, because if you weren't walking around with the plates, I don't know what kind of rabbi you are. And the Rav looks at him. I'm making a mockery of the Jews? Look what a Kiddush Hashem came about. When you stand up proudly and you portray yourself as a Yid, you have no shame, no busha, you have nothing to be ashamed of, then you can be very proud and everybody else will be proud of you. Can I say another story that I remind myself right now? I remind myself on Shavuos, I said this story in the Raleigh Hotel. I'm in the Raleigh Hotel for Yom Tovim. Call it the speaker of the house. So I'm there for the Yom Tovim. And I said this over on Shavuos. I figured for Kabbalah HaTorah, this is something very, very apropos. We have to know, we have to be makabel upon ourselves. And one of the biggest things that people are embarrassed about is in today's days, oh, I have to hide myself. We're not Maranos. We're proud Yidden. And after I said this story, a old man in a wheelchair called me over by the Suda. He asked, can I speak to you? And I said, oh, certainly. I sit down, and he tells me, my name is Rabbi Adams. Okay, Rabbi Adams, where are you from? He says, I'm from Connecticut. Connecticut, okay. He says, I want to share a story with you, talking about being a proud Jew. It's so important in today's day and age that we have to know this. Sometimes you see Kinderlach playing a game and the yarmulke comes off. The yarmulke coming off, the yarmulke is our honor. It's our badge of honor. I want to tell you, before I was a Rebbe in Dachei Torah, I was a Rebbe in the Mir Yeshiva. Right over here in the 5th grade, I used to teach us Cholas Gemara, and one day we had a trip to West Point. We took a trip to West Point, and after the soldiers did their march, everything, the boys were very excited. It was a very large open field, and the kids began running on the field. I told them, no, boys, this is only for the soldiers. And the kids had frisbees, and they threw it to the soldiers. They were after the march, and the soldiers threw it back at them. They were having a game, and the general said, these boys don't belong over here. So I said, I'm sorry. So they just ran out, and I'll get them back. And one of the boys, I told him, come back, tell everybody to come back on. So the general sees one of the boys, he had a yarmulke, and like 25, 30 years ago, if you remember, the style was that the yarmulke had painted stars on them and different designs, not like today. Today they put a letter of the first name, the shin for Shmuley, whatever. Then they had like painted stars. And the general asked the kid, "What's that on your head?" He says, "That's my yarmulke." He says, "What's that?" That shows that I belong, I'm a member of the army of my God. He says, "What are those stars on that skull cap?" So the kid, 10-year-old kid, and he answered, I remember his name was Altovsky, and he answered so intelligently, and he says, "Let me tell you, I look at you and I see you have stars, you have different medals." He says, "These are my medals, that I'm a servant of Hashem, proud to be so." When the general heard that, he says, "So you're in the army also? A different army than yours, but you're in the U.S. Army, and I'm in the Army Tzivos Hashem, in the army of Hashem, and these are my stars, these are my medals that I wear proudly." The general picked him up, and he said, "Bravo, kid. You kids can play on the field. Continue." And they were playing football with the soldiers. They had the nicest time. This has happened with my class. So I just want to say something, what happened with this Rabbi Adams. Rabbi Adams tells me, I had a camp in Connecticut, a Jewish camp, 50 years ago, for Kiruv. Did it. And right across the lake were some very, very wealthy Americans, including Richard Nixon lived over there also, some very wealthy people. They did not appreciate a camp. The kids were rolling across the lake and back and forth, and the music, sometimes in the morning singing, Moidani Lefonecha, and some of the people were really not friendly, and they wanted to close this camp down. They were looking for every opportunity to shut the camp down. Well, one day, they really hit the target. Sounds foolish, sounds silly, but let me share this with you. He tells me, we had visiting day on Sunday. There was a law called the Blue Law, where stores closed on Sunday. You would get a fine if you wanted to open on Shabbos. If you open on Sunday, you surely would get a fine. And we know many, many people that kept their stores closed on Shabbos, and they got their fine on Sunday, and they did it, and they would go down to court and fight it. It says it's freedom of religion, and Shabbos is my day of rest. And sure enough, they came down on visiting day, and they arrested him. The sheriffs came down, and they put handcuffs on him. He says, "What crime did I do?" Violation of the Blue Law. It is Sunday today. You are not allowed to have a visiting day today where all the cars coming up over here and we're taking you in. So one of the parents comes over to me, he says, "I'm a lawyer. I'm just telling you, you have nothing to worry about. They're going to give you a fine of about $10 to $20, and that's it. They'll leave you alone." Well, he was shocked, he tells me. He says, "They put me in the prison, and then they took me to court. The next day, I had to go to court." What happened in court? The prosecutor called for either a $10,000 fine. 50 years ago, you know how much the money was? $10,000 fine or 1 year imprisonment. I didn't even bring a lawyer with me because I figured I'll pay the $10, $20, forget the whole thing, and get on, move on, do what I have to do. I was shocked. I was startled. They told me to walk out of the courtroom, and they're going to come to a decision what the final verdict will be. I walked out of the courtroom, but then, this is 50 years ago, he walked into the courtroom with his yarmulke. You have to take off your hat, but not a yarmulke. But 50 years ago, people did that. In Connecticut, for sure. Well, he walked out with his yarmulke, and he was startled. He didn't know, what am I going to do next? What's going to happen? I'm going to sit a year in prison? I'm going to pay $10,000. Where am I going to get $10,000 from? It's a fortune. And just then, he feels a tap on his shoulder. Somebody walks over to him and he says, hello, sir? I see you look very distressed. Can I help you in any way? And he says, no, I have a problem. Could you share your problem with me? I would like to help you. He says, I don't think you can help me out in my predicament. There's nothing you can do for me. He says, well, listen, my name is Judge Mirillis. I'm a judge here for 35 years in this court. I think if it has any court-related problems, I could help you out. So why don't you share your problem with me? And we'll see, maybe I could do something if it's court-related. He says, court-related? I have a camp. I had visiting day on a Sunday. And they call it the violation of the blue law because I wasn't allowed to make a visiting day on Sunday. Only on Shabbos, which we can't have of Chil Shabbos. Even though most of these children, their parents are not Shomer Shabbos, but I was not going to have a visiting day on Shabbos. So I did the Sunday. I didn't know it's a violation of the blue law. And it's too bad anyway. So I thought they're going to give me a fine. $10, $20. $10,000 they want to fine me? Or a year imprisonment? Am I a criminal? What did I do? I'm running a camp. And he smiles. And Judge Barilla says to him, what's your name? He says, my name is Rabbi Adams. He says, Rabbi Adams, rest assured, everything will be fine. I'll take care of it. Wait over here. He says, where are you going? He says, I'm going to the courtroom. Judge Marillis walked over to the prosecutor. He tells the prosecutor, who was a young prosecutor, he said, I want you to know that if you are going to find him guilty and you're going to press charges on him, you're never going to win a case when I will be the presiding judge. You're going to lose, and you're going to be a lousy prosecutor, and there will go your job with it. He says, you hand me over the files, and we will rid these files from the court and forget about it, and then we're back friends. If not, remember, you'll never see the end of me. The prosecutor was really, really intimidated, and he says, so what do you want me to do? Give you the files? He says, yes, exactly. Why are you pressing charges on an innocent person? You know good and well he doesn't deserve this. He says, well, I'm just trying to do my job somehow or another, but here are the files. He took it, and he says, fine, I'm taking these files. He walked out of the courtroom, and he says, Rabbi Adams, here are your files. You need not worry about it. This was a false accusation about you, and there's no reason for the blue law to be dealt in such a way with you. It's over and gone. You may go home, continue to do what you're doing. And he says to him, can I ask you a question? Have you ever seen me? Did you ever meet me? Never. He says, can I ask you one other question? So why in the world did you come over to me and try to help me out? You do this to people? He says, it's the first time I'm doing this. Because it's the first time I see a person walking out of the courtroom proudly with his yarmulke fixed to his head. He says, I see you're a proud Jew, even though I'm Jewish. And I don't know anything about Judaism. But one thing I see, a proud Jew, I respect it, I honor it, and I figure I'm going to help you in your stressful situation. And he was exonerated. He was totally wiped away with his problem, and that was over. So he had a lesson Der Kinderlach. You go proudly. The girls, you dress proudly as with the tznias that a Yiddish girl is supposed to wear. People will respect you for it. Even though we live in a very, very decrepit society where there's so many people that are not fit to be around us, unfortunately. They're living such a low, such a decadent society. But if you are proud, you're a Bas Yisrael, and you show everybody, I go dressed like Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah would be proud as my mothers, and the boys go proudly like Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in the Shiftei Car, as they did. Oh, you're making a Kiddush Hashem, and you're proud. And then we're living through these parashas, because all these parashas are nisyonis that our Avos had to experience. They lived through this, so in order for us to be able to break all the difficult tests, and Avram went through 10 of these most difficult tests, and he came out flying scores, beautiful success, because he paved the road, as the Ramban said, Maisa always similar bonim. Whatever we're going to have to go through, the Avos went through, so they can clear the way and the road for us. They cleared the obstacles. Avram going down to Mitzrayim, going down such a low place. The society then was so low, terrible. Avram had to go there. Look what happened with Sarah. She was abducted. Worst place. But all the reason why Avram went down there is because there's going to come a time where Yiddish Kinderlach are going to have to walk down the streets, and they're going to be billboards, and they're going to be bus signs with improper posters, and we're going to be able to have the strength to turn away and say, I'm not even looking at these things because that's not what the Torah wants me to do. You stick to it with pride and dignity. Oh, boys, we boys and girls will be shining examples of what a Bas Yisrael, what a Ben Torah is supposed to be. And this definitely will hasten. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be able to say to the Malachi Asharis, look, 2018, Tov Shin Ayin Ches. Look what we're holding. Tov Shin Ayin Ches. And Yiddish Kinlach are still so careful. They have all the distractions around them. And they're still learning Torah. And they're still remaining firm. This is the greatest pride and dignity Kadosh Baruch Hu can show off to the Malachi Asharis. And you know, Tov Shinai Ches, I heard from my Rebbe Rav Moshe Wolfson, soll sein gesund und stark der Meshgiach von Amunis Yisrael und Torah Das. Pokoit Pagadati. The words Pokoit Pagadati. The words that Moshe Rabbeinu told the Yidden that the Geula is going to come. I will remember you and the Geula will come. That equals to the word Tov Shin Ayin Ches. So let's prepare ourselves with these parashas to face the challenges of the society with pride and be proud. Yisrael HaShabachah Espar. I will be Zeichet to the Mashiach.
Did he say so? Wow. Every year he comes up with a different remez, no?
Yeah, sure. Well, the Ramazim are getting stronger because Pokat Pakadati is what the Geula means, hopefully. You know, I remind myself another thing. I don't want to take the whole...
please,
what?
Please do, please
do. Anyway, it was just past when the Parshas Shkolim, I was invited to speak Shalashudas in the Young Israel of Avenue I. I must tell you that I daven in the Amunis Yisrael. By us Shalashudas, we end an hour and a half in the wintertime after the Zman. No one is running away from Shabbos. The problem is a lot of people don't know the value of Shabbos. Shabbos is so precious, so valuable, especially Shalashudas time is the greatest part of the Shabbos Kodesh. And some people are looking at the watch and running away. Where are you running to? You're right now, Me'en Olam Haba, Yom Shabbos Menucha. Why are you running from Shabbos? Schlep that Shabbos, drag that Shabbos as long as you can. Because when you're in that Shabbos Kodesh, you are right now in the greatest time that you possibly can be. Once it's the weekday, we're back in the weekday. You can't compare that. So we sit and we sing Zemiris, and we have the great Torah. We're sitting in the dark. So this way we don't get distracted. We only listen and sing Zemiris. And I know that in the young Israel they finished by this man. And it bothers me to leave Amunis Yisrael by Shalashuda's time. I prefer not to because I want to keep the Shabbos as long as I can. The later the better. So I had to make a decision. I was invited, and then I pushed it off. But then I said, it's not fair. Is it possible that one Yid might get a chizuk, and it's all worth it for one Jew? Because that's what we're all here for. One Yid to help another Yid. Begashmias, Baruchnias, or whatever order you say, Baruchnias or Begashmias. It's no difference. We're here to help each other. Every Yid. No difference if it's the same chassid, the same yeshiva shagai, the same whatever. All Yidden, Zera, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, we're all in this together. We have to be mechazik one another and help each other in every way possible, physically and spiritually. So I decided, you know what? It's Shabbos Shkolim. The Shabbos I dreaded to miss. Shchodesh Adar, everything coming. And I went. And when I walked down Coney Island Avenue, I said, Rabbi Shalom, please, I hope I'm not disappointed. I hope that I can say something that will accomplish something and help me, that I should see only the best in all Yidden. I only want to see the good in Yidden. So I came there, and we came down to Shalashudas. It was not the same kind of Shalashudas that I'm used to. I spoke, and it was some kind of a conversation that came out where Bill Gates invited somebody to be a speaker at a convention Thursday night. Well, what happened was Bill Gates had to cancel the convention, so it was in the papers, and he told the speaker, I will need you for Saturday to come on Saturday, 6 o'clock. And the Yid was a Shem Torah Mitzvahs from England, and he said, sorry, I have to relinquish this offer because I cannot come and speak on Shabbos. So Bill Gates told the one in charge, he says, offer him double, triple salary, four, whatever it is, what's money's not the issue over here. He says, you don't understand. I am not going to come on Shabbos. If you have it on Thursday or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's perfectly fine. If you want to make it Saturday night after my Shabbos is over, that's also fine. Shabbos, it's the middle of Shabbos, nothing to talk about. Can never make it there. Even for the amount of money, what's your price? He says, there is no price. Shabbos is the price. He was so mesmerized, Bill Gates, and he says, you know what? I'm canceling my plans and we'll make it shift it back to Thursday. We'll have him come on Thursday. And he said, I never realized that there are really people over here that are willing to sacrifice any amount of money for values. Hashem over there, and there was a lawyer, the young Israel, came over to me, and he says, can I give you a ride home? So I said, it's still Shabbos for me. It was before 72. They had it earlier as man. So he says, I'll walk you to Ocean Parkway. So he said, okay, fine. So two people are walking me. He says, I want you to know I'm a lawyer. Monday morning, it's going to be a very, very shocking experience in the law firm because I'm coming in with a yarmulke. He says, you are? He says, yes, I'm going to be a proud Jew. I heard what you said, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I said, Rabbi Shalom, thank you. This was worth everything. But before I left the young Israel, they introduced me to an old man. It's an old man, I forgot his name, I have it written down somewhere. He was about 92, 93. He was a war veteran. He fought in Japan, in the U.S. Army. And he was saying Tillim. He didn't come down to Shalashis because he couldn't walk down to the basement, but he was there saying Tillim. And I was listening to him say Tillim. I saw that his Ivra was not really professional. So they tell him, you want to tell him your story in the army? He's talking about proud Jews. You're a proud Jew. You're a proud Jew. You're a perfect example that we want to use. And I was wondering what's he going to tell me. And he says, listen, I was drafted to the U.S. Army. I didn't go to yeshiva. I know Ivris somewhat, but not too well. Well, here I am. I want you to know when I was drafted to the Army, I was shipped off to Japan to fight over there, Philippines. And what do you know? They served non-kosher food. I said, excuse me, I'm Jewish, I'm Orthodox. I don't know much about my religion. I didn't go to yeshiva, but I'm not going to violate and not eat kosher food. I need kosher food. So they sent me to the chaplain. The chaplain was a Reformed rabbi. And he says, sir, you're in the U.S. Army, and kosher foods, we have lettuce for you and potatoes. He says, I can't live on lettuce and potatoes for the rest of the time over here. I need some supplement. I need some fish or chicken or something. He says, you're dreaming, sir. This is the U.S. Army. We're here in a war zone. There is no kosher food for you. He said, I was drafted and I was told that I will have kosher food supplied. He says, I can't help you. So normally, you give up after a while. It's going to go a week or two, and he is living on vegetables. But he started feeling weaker. He needed some protein. So he decided to do something which is a little embarrassing. He went over to Catholic chaplain, and he said, are you out to help people of only your religion, or as a chaplain you'll do something for people from another religion as well? He says, whatever I can help you with, I'll do it. But there's a Jewish chaplain. He says, well, he was unable to help me. I'm curious to see how hard he tried. I wonder, is it possible for you to get me some kosher food? Because I can't keep on going on like this over here. You know, a few days later, was a shipment of Manischewitz gefilte fish and matzahs. He says, it wasn't Pesach, but I had matzahs and I had gefilte fish. That was my kosher food. I lived on that. I survived the war, and I proudly can say, I didn't go to yeshiva. I don't know that much, but I ate kosher. Amazing. I ate Manischewitz gefilte fish. That's what I lived on. So we learn over here, I think we can learn, there are a lot of Yidden who are role models for us. We have to take advantage of this, to learn from this, to make sure that we follow in their example, because they are the true heroes of Klal Yisrael.
We got to bring these guys to the open. Come on.
See, when you go around, Hashem always sends you something. Look, Mika Amcho Yisrael Gayechad. Who is like Klal Yisrael? You'll find it everywhere. You'll find it in every community. You find the Jewish heroes. That's Klal Yisrael. Hashem has a lot to be proud of. And, you know, if you have a botanical garden has all kinds of flowers. If it only have roses, it wouldn't be pretty. Roses is nice, but you need variations. We need all kinds. We need tulips. We need
hydrangeas and
all
lilies.
The different names that they're inventing today. But you need that's a beautiful garden. That's Klal Yisrael. You have the Sephardish Yidden, you have the Ashkenazish Yidden, you have the Litvish Yidden, you have the Hasidish Yidden. It's all beautiful. It's all one circle around Hashem, who is in the middle. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Osed Lasses Mocha LaTzadikim. The Rebbeinu Shalom is going to watch how all of us are going to be dancing around him, and that is the beauty that we have. So we're all dancing around the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Let's continue to dance, because that big dance is about to come, the dance with Mashiach and Yetz Hashem. We're all looking forward for this.
Whoa. Really enjoyed your your stuff, Rebbe Langer. You're mesmerizing me. I totally tune out of everything when I listen to you. It's very nice, really. I do want to know all the time when we becoming more available to others, and all the time we get these questions. We're going to be available.
So let's see.
Right now we can call on, and we we can listen on the apps, and of course we can always hear the shows on our archives. So go to the Kishroni Hour or Bornstein, punch in those names, and we'll put in a date, Thursday, 7 to 8, and you'll have everything. Amazing. The nisyonos that Avram the Aves had, they oisketoit naveg. They created a path for us.
Yes, they worked the way.
Right. They made it for us. We are able to conquer our nisyonos because of the Aves.
They broke the way through for us. Yes, definitely. There's a lot more. Speaking about yarmulkes, you know why I speak about yarmulkes today? Because I saw a kid playing football, and I asked him, "You lost your yarmulke?" He said, "No, I didn't. It's in my pocket." So I said, "So why aren't you wearing it?" He says, "Because it falls off." He says, "So why don't you just put a bobby pin or something? You have a badge of honor. It's your yarmulke. Hashem didn't give it to anybody else. It's ours. It's for us. Wear it with pride. Be proud." I remind myself a story. I was in Venice. I had to speak over there in the Portuguese shul. I was invited over there, Baruch Hashem. And this is 11 years ago. On Sunday, I didn't want to go with the tourists because they were going to go to different places that were... I didn't want to have to go to no churches or anything. That's not so I went to a certain place called St. Mark's Piazza. It's a big open place, and I went there for a very, very different reason. In the year 1544, I believe, on Shabbos, the Venetians the police came into the house of the Jews. They took out all the Svarim, the Gemaras, whatever they had, and they made a big fire. The Pope had ordered that they burn a Sreifas HaTalmud, similar to what happened in Paris in 1242. This is the same, very similar thing happened
later.
In 1544. And where did they burn it? Right there, by St. Mark's Piazza. And I had a job to do. I'm in Venice. I'm here. I'm going to do something. I came with a Bava Metzia Gemara, and I was teaching Hamafka that year. I said, I'm preparing over here. I'm sitting right over here for 2 hours. You burnt the Gemara? Ha! Look at that, a few hundred years later. And here's Leibish Langer teaching this, and I'm preparing it right over here. It was the most sensational feeling that I was able to feel in a long time. That I'm preparing Shir over here. Al apam v'al chamosam. Let them know. You think you can go and put out the light. So what happened was
look how many thousands of pages are being learned.
Us. And but what was very funny was there was a young couple sitting over there, and he was drinking beer. I recognized right away that this is a Jewish couple because the wife was wearing a sheitel, but he was wearing a baseball cap backwards. And that's a U.S. custom. That's not usually what you see in Europe. So I went over to him and I said, Shalom Aleichem, fellow Jews. So he asked, how do you know I'm Jewish? I said, because you're wearing your baseball cap backwards. So he started laughing. He said, a lot of people do that. I said, no, don't worry. I can tell on you that you're a Jew. I told him, I see you having a good time over here. You're drinking some beer. Do you know over here was a Sreifas HaTalmud where you're sitting, Goyim were watching how they were burning our Torah and they were having a wonderful, gleeful experience over here on that Shabbos. I came over here to prepare a piece of Gemara. You want to learn with me a little? So he says, they burnt the Gemara over here? I said, yes. So it was so nice. He took the bottle of beer, spilled it out, tossed in a garbage can. He says, Hashem, forgive me. I did not know this. I would never drink over here. He says to his wife, let's get out of this place. I don't want to be over here. I said, you could be here and learn over here. He said, almost my wife. So I said, okay, I understand, but that's what he is. He took a pride. They burnt the Talmud over here. We're not going to be around over here. We're going to be proud. We're proud Yidden. That's what we have to know. We have to be proud. To know we have to stand up and know who we are. We have nothing to be ashamed of, only to be proud of. Can you imagine after a war where our parents went through so much sorrows? There was no chance. It didn't look like there was a chance for Klal Yisrael to rejuvenate. And look how they came out of the ashes. Who can do such a thing? No one. Only Klal Yisrael. Can we be proud of ourselves? And how we should be proud of ourselves. Look at our accomplishment. And who's the future? You children that are listening to this program over here, you're the future of Klal Yisrael. You're supposed to make a very, very strong imprint on all of us. And Be'ezus Hashem Yisbarach, you will make an imprint on Klal Yisrael. You're going to show Klal Yisrael who you are, how proud you are, and then you know good and well that the Rebbeinu Shalom will be so proud of you. So, we have a mission to continue all the nisyonis that our others have passed. That's our mission, to overcome them in today's day.
Last week I was by a Yortzeit Suda. This guy spoke, the son, the first Yortzeit, the son of the one who passed away, got up to speak, and I don't know if you want me to say his name. So he said that, back in Staten Island where we live, so he said that when my father came to me for Shabbos, so he came to the shul, the shul that we daven, and there was two brothers, a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old, and they were making a siyum with Shabbos. The whoever was very into the kids making siyum, whatever. So they make a siyum with a little kiddush. So he was muttering. He said, my father was muttering something. He said, what are you saying? That he's like poking Hitler's eye. He every siyum, he felt like he's
another stock, another
stock. Exactly.
It's like every baby that's born, another simcha. You go to a Shalom Zocha, you go to a kiddush, you say, Baruch Hashem. Hey, look, you thought.
And wipe us out.
Wipe us out, and Klal Yisrael is back, and we're going stronger than ever. Be'ezus Hashem Yisbarach.
Wow. Belanga, thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. What can I tell you? You're always welcome to come here. Last time you came, I promised you that I'm going to nudge you again.
Yes, I could be nudged. So
I'm telling you again, I'm going to nudge you again. It's a tremendous, these parshas, the tzaddikim say that you're going with your boots.
The winter parshas. These are the parshas that you have to watch, you have to look at them. And if somebody can teach you some of the Rambans are all full of Yesaidis and Yahadis. This is the foundations every step along the way. Whenever we finish with Avram Avinu, I don't know, I feel a certain connection to all, but Avram Avinu, it's just so hard to say goodbye. When you have 2 weeks over here, Lech Lecha Vayera and Chaysara, and then we're going to Yitzchak. Yitzchak is the next one. Every single one of them. Yitzchak is the ones of the most mysterious. But Yitzchak, don't forget, people think, he doesn't know no Esav. Oh, Yitzchak knew Esav very well. Svarim say Kitzai. If you take a look, the Gemara says on Shabbos that when Hashem is going to tell Avram and Yaakov that the Yiddish Kindlech sinned, so Avram and Yaakov are going to say, so then they have Yimocha Kiddush Mecha. They have to be punished. What can you do? But Yitzchak is the one that finds. He always finds chusim. Always finds. He's going to say, Palga alai, Palga lach, I'll split it with you. I take care of you, take care of, because that's Yitzchak, always finding, and that's why, Vayehav Yitzchak as Esav Kitzayeh Befiv, now he has an excuse they can say, Rabbeinu Shalom, I loved Esav despite what he was. So Rabbeinu Shalom, you have to do the same thing to love the Yiddish Kinderlich despite what they are.
Never heard that.
Yeah, the Be'er Chaim had a son. The Be'er Chaim had a son that did not do what he's supposed to do. He went a little off, and he gave him everything. And he says, Rabbeinu Shalom, you have much more ahava to your Kinderlich than a human being has to his. Take a look how I deal with my children. Rabbeinu Shalom, take care of all your Kinderlich, as sinful as they are, as low as they may be, but the Steiner Kinderlich, they're still great. And we know today in Klal Yisrael, there's so many Yidden that need a Yeshua. All it needs is when Mashiach is going to come, their eyes will open up and they're going to say, oh, look at the gem, look at the diamond that we have. Let's take advantage of it. And that's what we're supposed to look at it. When you're in yeshiva, and you're learning, and you have that Blat Gemara in front of you, or you have that Chumash, or whatever you're learning, the Musa say, well, anything, you cherish those words. Those are words that went through Mesiras Nefesh, and those are words that spark our neshama up and make us become what we are supposed to become. So, all I can say is, Chazak, Chazak, V'nis Chazak, and let's go into the path of our fathers with great Hatzlacha.
I remember I was a little kid in London, and you said the Torah, and if you know the area there. So, the Nisyonis were all on the board, and when he came to Shiva, anyway, so the one of the Moors, I think, drew the picture of the Nisyonis, or cast him, and then every day she would put like a check, passed with flying colors, and other parshas went through, we would have like check off, passed with flying colors, and this Nisayon, and this Nisayon, until Vayera, till the Akedah. I remember it was like a lesson, Avraham Avinu is going through the Nisayonis now. We're living the parshas.
And we're following along. And we won't disappoint, and we'll show Avraham Avinu what we are. He can be very, very proud of us. And in Yetz Hashem, he'll be Meilus Yoisha for us, together with all the Ovis and all the Imoyes, and Bez Hashem Yisborach. Hopefully, we're going to come into this great Shabbos Kodesh with great zest and zeal. And boys and girls, try to prepare for Shabbos a little earlier. It'll be so much more meaningful. Get into the Shabbos mode earlier. Don't wait to the last minute. Don't take your shower the last minute. Be early. If you can go to shul and say a little shir shim or be shnai mikvecha targum, what a wonderful way to enter the Shabbos. Hatzlacha Rabbah to everybody, and Besuras Taivas, and hope we hear from each other, only Besuras Taivas.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Langer, for coming here today and giving us this great Divrei Chizuk. Really appreciate it. Mazel tov to Moshe. Mazari. Okay, on the Bar Mitzvah. Okay, very good. Thank you, Moshe, for that. Anyway, thank you so much, boys and girls, for listening. This is Yosef Lai Bornstein. We'll see you next week. Official Shechter follows me, and then Leil Shish with Yoeli. Don't go away.